Hello and welcome to my April 27th, 2026. This is video number 2 about Jesus. My name is Askerith and I'm the one who's claiming that I am from everlasting life. Jesus is everlasting life. So how is it possible? How can I say that? Well, know that everlasting life is the universe. The entire universe is everlasting life, except for the earth. And we live in everlasting life. That is the future of the earth as well, that it will become part of everlasting life on Judgment Day. Judgment Day is real, but it's not a day of doom, it's a happy day. But I can make another video about Judgment Day. How is it possible that I'm from everlasting life? Well, take my age plus add 15 years. And that is when Azkirith, who is my true existence, started to prepare to be awakened here on the earth and remember everlasting life. And remember my life. Remember everything that I'm talking to you about. So it took me 15 years of preparation to gather all the memories and prepare myself for my awakenings. There was 2 of them. And then after the 15 years, and this is how God does it, I went to sleep in my pod, which is the cryogenics, I guess, what we call it, because in everlasting life we have God's technology that allows us to do all of this. And then because we have a soul, souls are real, so God then withdraws our soul from our vessels and inserted it into, at moment of conception, into the biology here on the earth. Therefore, the soul belongs to Azkirith, not Lena here on the earth. The soul is Azkirith. The biology is new. The biology is obviously earthling. So I'm not saying I'm an alien here, but my soul is. And this is how God does it. It's kind of like reincarnation, I guess. And it's possible because we have a soul. And I'm not the only one here. I'm not special in any way. And this is how God has always done it. So, Earth is an infant intelligence planet. That means it's not part of everlasting life. It is only the single planet in the entire universe that is not part of everlasting life. This is how God does it. Is that the universe is cyclic. It has a beginning, I guess a middle, and then it comes to a slow end. And towards that slow end, God withdraws our souls in everlasting life, withdraws our souls, and our souls exist in God's dimension. They don't exist, they're not part of the physical universe. God withdraws our souls and recycles and recreates the universe for us. And the universe, when it is recreated, it is exactly as it was at the end of the cycle, down to the last speck of dust. It's perfect recreation. And then God returns our souls back to our biology. So, of course, during this process, we go to lie down in our beds, in our homes. And I have so much more to say about this, so please come back. And this is a part of the design, that how God designed it. And once per universe cycle, let's say it's a 20 billion cycle, 20 billion year cycle, a planet like Earth evolves vessels perfect for intelligence. It evolves human beings, and then God adds soul. What does it mean to have a soul? It means that we are God's children. Souls are God's children. And God gave his children 2 gifts. Well, really 3, because we are all born with free will and given 2 gifts: shame and guilt, and seek your creator. And this is why infant intelligence always has religions, because we are without the presence of God in our lives, which we are with the presence of God in our lives in everlasting life. However, infant intelligence are without the presence of God because of free will. They must come to today's technological era in order for the awakening era to happen. The awakening era always precedes Judgment Day. The purpose being so that as many people as possible choose everlasting life. So the process is always the same on all infant intelligence planets. And and it is that during the awakening era, there's going to be 4 signs, physical signs. Everything's about physical reality, not religion, not supernatural events, will be happening that prove that this is true and real for you. But because the earth is very, very bad, the intelligence virus is very prevalent on the earth, there's going to be a +1 sign. There's going to be a 5th sign that everything I'm saying is real and true. And that sign is that everybody else who is here today, who is from everlasting life, will also experience their awakening. And how this will happen is for another video. Is it hard to for me to accept it that other people would go through what I went through and regain their memories from everlasting life? It is very difficult to grasp that happening, because that would be just miraculous, right? But we have to have faith. But there's gonna be, you're gonna experience 3 or 4 physical signs. The 3 signs have to all happen, otherwise it's just a coincidence and you're not from EL. And the 4th sign is very special, and it means you're married in everlasting life. Because when we get married in EL, we get married by God. God marries us in everlasting life. And then he grants us the gift of soulmate bond. Soulmates are real. That's by God's design. And that means you will experience your soulmate bond, just like I experienced mine. And I'll talk about that in another video. So that is the design, is that we have a soul and God has the power to withdraw our souls. And this is how God designed it, so that we always retain free will. So God will never be the face in the sky, because that would be intimidation. Nothing apocalyptic like from the Bible will be happening. There is no heaven, there's no hell, there's no angels of any kind, good or bad ones. There's only God, us, and our universe. And of course, Jesus. Now, Jesus was created in everlasting life, and Jesus lives in everlasting life right now. As I'm speaking here and you're doing your own thing, then know that Jesus lives and walks in the universe right now. And Jesus is very, very unique and special, because Jesus does not have parents like we do. He was not created through evolution. Jesus was created by the power of God. And God has promised us, and God does not lie, that he has only ever done this once and will never ever do it again. And so Jesus is very special. Sorry, that's my doggie. She's apparently found a bone. I hope it's not too disruptive. If it is, I guess I'll have to take it away. I'm a meanie. But Jesus lives in everlasting life with us, and he lives by himself. Jesus does not have a soulmate, because Jesus is, in a way, our brother. So Jesus does not have a wife. And Jesus is very, very happy in everlasting life. And this is how Jesus lives his life. Jesus travels the universe and seeks us. And he seeks to meet all of God's children, God's new children. So those who are born in everlasting life, but also on Judgment Day, the very next day, Jesus will come back to the earth. So there's no second coming, like from the Bible. And I know a lot of people are going to not like hearing that because we fall in love with our beliefs and we treasure them and don't want to let them go. And so I understand that. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to a second coming where Jesus will come and judge and then rule and everything that's, written in the Bible about that. But from what I remember is that that is not the case because we are so free-willed that we are self-judging. We have to self-judge. And for your own sake, self-judge while you're alive. Because know that on your death day, which is your judgment day, or on judgment day, if you don't wake up, you will still self-judge according to God's one law. Thou shalt not prevent nor hinder the free will of anyone. Thou shalt not enslave anyone to your will. We're not allowed to have slaves. Slavery comes in three forms: physical, mental, financial. So make sure you're not enslaving anybody and then do good deeds. And that's how you wake up on Judgment Day or upon your death day. When you meet God, God will then reincarnate you within your own vessel, but it will be healed in everlasting life. So if you have parents who passed away or any of your loved ones who chose everlasting life, know that they're in EL right now waiting for you, waiting for Earth's judgment day. So Jesus will be back the day after Judgment Day to meet every single one of you that chose everlasting life. And know that Jesus does not know you right now. He does not know anything about you. Not unless you choose everlasting life. Then he will meet you. But that means that also Jesus does not know anything negative that you have done. And so when you meet Jesus, all he will know is that you are a good person who deserves everlasting life. And because on Judgment Day, our souls will be cleansed. We have to give God permission to cleanse our souls in order to join everlasting life. And that means God will delete any negative memories we have about anything that we did or that was done to us, any negative thoughts and actions, and also any negative people. So God will, with our permission, we have to give God permission because of free will to enter our Unimindverse, which is what I named your soul. Some people are not comfortable thinking of like a soul, right? But your Unimindverse is really where your memories are stored. That is the essence of you, correct? And so God will cleanse our Unimindverse. And when we wake up in everlasting life upon our first sleep, we will not have memory of all those who chose death. And God will forget them also. And in that way, they will have ceased to ever existed. So when you wake up in everlasting life, you will just remember all your good deeds and all your good things and positive things about yourself. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, the negative is part of me, but you have to let it go in order to move on. We don't bring negativity into everlasting life. We don't identify ourselves with negative experiences. And so you will not lose yourself. The transition to everlasting life is very, very smooth. You won't lose yourself. You'll just wake up and still be yourself, but you'll only remember all the positive interactions and positive good deeds. And know that if you have slaves right now and you let them go and you start doing good deeds, you are guaranteed 100% to wake up on Judgment Day. You will receive everlasting life and God will love you Just like God loves those who've never done any hurtful things. There is no more or less love. It's all equal. And so Jesus, in that way, won't know anything negative about you when he meets you in everlasting life. And I hope that makes you happy, you know? And once Jesus meets you, he never forgets you. This is one of two gifts that God gave his son, Jesus, that make us very happy and make Jesus very happy too. Is that once Jesus meets you, he never forgets you. And in that way, Jesus knows trillions of us. And once he meets you, he will never forget your name and your conversation, details about yourself. And in that way, even if you meet Jesus only, let's say, every once a universe cycle, because God will keep recycling and restarting the universe and in that way achieve infinity, we all have a friend in Jesus. And this makes us very, very happy because we love Jesus. You know, Jesus is our Savior. Jesus has saved trillions of lives over the universe cycles, which, you know, if you envision that God adds enough matter to make a galaxy per universe cycle, look at how many galaxies there are in the universe. That is how long God has been recycling and restarting the universe. That is how many universe cycles have been before today. And so the design of everything I'm talking about was put in place right at the beginning when God first started creating. So nothing is, being done differently on the earth. And that includes the awakening era and the 4 signs. But on the earth, because earth is very prevalent in slavery. Remember, slavery includes lying. So there's a lot of corruption and a lot of brainwashing happening today, and deepfake AI also. So God has decided to awaken all of its children who are here today, who are from everlasting life, like me. And back when I learned this was before AI. I didn't understand why. And now today in 2026, so much has happened since 2020. I understand why God chose to do this. So, second gift that God gave Jesus is that Jesus has the power to bless a seed. And so if you bring your special seed, for example, pear tree seed, which we have to seek Jesus. So it's not posted anywhere on the Uninet, Universal Internet, where Jesus's location. That's private, right? We respect Jesus's privacy. So you have to go out into the universe and look for Jesus, and ask people, have you seen Jesus? Have you heard? Do you know where he is? And you have to travel, journey. So it can take a very long time. So we have a special pod that we put the seed in that preserves it until we finally find Jesus, and that can take 1,000 years. And then when Jesus blesses your seed and you plant it, you must take care of it for 3 years. You must not let it die. And then God will add it to everlasting life. That plant will never die. It will exist for infinity. It will be part of everlasting life. And this makes us very, very happy. And this plant will be perfect in every way. It will always grow back no matter what happens. It will always come back and be beautiful, perfect specimen. And if it's a fruit or a vegetable, it will always bear perfect fruit. So it doesn't matter if there's a drought, it will always grow. It doesn't matter if it burns down, it'll always grow back. If you cut it off, it will always grow back. It does not matter what happens. That plant is blessed. And if it is a fruiting tree and we make juice out of that fruit or vegetables, we call this rejuvenation juice. And it rejuvenates us. Rejuvenation juice makes us not hungry, not thirsty, not tired, not uncomfortable, and it makes us not hungry, not thirsty, not uncomfortable, not in pain, and not tired. I don't know. Sometimes I remember all five. Sometimes I just have to write it down. So it doesn't like accentuate anything. It doesn't get us high per se, but it just kind of resets us, and it allows us to, when we go deep sea diving or splunking, or, we're really, really absorbed by our activity and we don't want to eat or drink, it's too much of a distraction, then we'll sip a little bit of rejuvenation juice and it resets us. And so that makes us very, very happy. And think of, as a parent, how useful that can be with babies. And so those are the two gifts that God gave his son, Jesus, that make us happy and that make Jesus happy as well. But know that Jesus has the power to bless a seed once per 100 million years only. Therefore, Jesus is very choosy. So when you bring your seed to Jesus to bless it, and to ask him to bless it, he will ask you why. And then he has to decide. And since he can only do this every 100 million years, sometimes he will say, not this time. So rejuvenation juice is very special because not everybody chooses, a fruiting tree or plant. Sometimes people want their roses and petunias and lilacs, right? So this makes us very happy because we live for infinity, but everything around us expires. That's living, trees, animals. But I'll get back to animals later because there is special animals too that are a gift from God too. So know that Jesus also has free will just like we do, and must choose himself to do what he does on the earth. So Jesus, yes, was created with a purpose, but was given free will just like us. And he must choose himself to be born on infant intelligence planets to do what he did on the earth for us, which is point at the right God and tell us to seek the truth. Seek the truth is very, very, very important. And to not have slaves. And because Jesus has to choose himself, and then God prepares him, Jesus knew what was going to happen on the earth to him, and he still chose himself. That is how much we love each other in everlasting life. And know that if you awaken, you were prepared as well. We are all prepared. Well, I was going to add something. Yes, another difference between us who are born here, who are from everlasting life, and Jesus is that here I was born Lena, and I had no memory of El until I was awakened by God. And that was in November 2015. My first awakening lasted till March 2016. So it was very long. And the second one was January 2021 to, December 2021 to January 2022. So that one was a lot shorter, but yet I learned so much more because it was so different. Both the awakening experiences were very, very different. So, whereas Jesus is always himself. Jesus is always Jesus. So here I'm kind of conflicted, I'm like, I'm Lena, but, I have memories from EL, and I'm kind of like, it's kind of funny for me. But Jesus is always himself. And this is why Jesus had to be born to somebody who was not conceived, to somebody who was, didn't, who was a virgin. It's not that, if you're not a virgin, that there's something, unholy about you. It's just that Jesus has to be born so that 100% it's a divine birth, so that 100% there could be no mistaken that Jesus is very special. And know that Mary is from everlasting life and chose herself to be Jesus's mother in everlasting life. I have memory of this event, although I've never met her personally, but I have memory of her. And her name in everlasting life is Nastasia. And Nastasia chose herself. It was, Jesus promised us. He told you that all of your dreams will come true in everlasting life. And that is true. It was her dream to help out God raise infant intelligence by being the mother of Jesus, was her dream. And it came true. And just like it was my dream to be doing what I'm doing right now, to tell you about everlasting life, to be Earth's awakener. And Earth's, in order to be awakener, you have to be a soul speaker. And if you read this chapter, you will learn that it was actually Jesus who told me that I was a soul speaker, and that means that I could be awakener one day. So it's kind of like a talent that has to do with music, and that pertains to my second experience, and I'm going to talk about that later. I have so much to talk about, right? That's why these videos just can't stay short. Although this one's under a half an hour, so that's pretty good. And so I'm going to cycle through the book. And yes, so I hope what makes you the happiest is knowing that Jesus does not know anything negative that you did about you. Jesus, when you meet Jesus, all he will know, that's the first time he will meet you. All he will know is that you are a good person who deserves everlasting life. And as a sinner myself, that makes me very happy to know. Because so know that when we choose ourselves to help God raise infant intelligence, and we are born here on infant worlds, we have the intelligence virus. We don't have the intelligence virus in everlasting life, but we do here while we're infant intelligence. That's what it means to be infant intelligence. Not that God treats us as infants. Do not mistake in that. God treats us on the same level, equal ground. But, well, age appropriately. So children, it's different, right? But now I lost my track of thought. We all have the intelligence virus. But once we pass away on the infant world and God returns our souls back into our biology, we have zero memory of what we did here. That's not our real existence here. Our true existence is in everlasting life. So it's kind of like this pen. Imagine this pen is your soul. Remember what I named your Unimind verse. So it's a space for your soul, for your mind. And imagine from the point of the pen here, where the writing part is, and then this end goes for infinity. So you can add an infinite number of memories to your Unimind verse. Well, it's this tiny little part that's reserved for when we're born here, for infant intelligence. And that part is not part of our true existence. So once we die, God deletes it. We give God to permission to do that, to cleanse our soul again. And then we just go on to live our lives in everlasting life. All we know is what we achieved here. And those are our dreams come true. So all of your dreams will come true. And when God, at the beginning of a universe cycle, when a planet starts to evolve infant intelligence, know that in EL we visit that planet up until the infant intelligence. We study it. And no, this is gonna sound incredible, but every species that has ever existed still exists today. So comprehend that. In the universe, there's so much space in the universe that we, with God's technology, we engineer planets. And before a species, if it's going to go extinct, we collect samples. So, numerous couples and for breeding. And every species that has ever existed still exists today. So yes, there is a dinosaur planet. I wasn't planning on talking about that right now, but it's just when I remembered this, it just made me so happy. Of course, me, Lena, will never see it, but it just makes me happy it's there anyways. But for you, if you're infant intelligence and you're new and you choose everlasting life, you will join everlasting life. And then if you love dinosaurs, yes, you'll be able to walk amongst dinosaurs. And of course, and again, I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself, but because of the 7 steps in the word program by which God programs the universe, that's for another video. One of them, I think it's the 6th one, is that every intelligence with a little I knows what intelligence is with a capital I. And all that means that all living beings instinctually know we are God's children and don't hurt us. So yes, you will still feel fear when you join everlasting life of dangerous, scary animals, but they will not hurt you. They will not bite. They will not attack you. And I'm gonna make a whole other video about that. But yes, you'll be able to walk with dinosaurs and see them in person. And I know this sounds incredible, but Jesus said all of your dreams will come true. So if you don't believe me, at least believe Jesus. That if this does not make you happy, I know we have old beliefs about what happens when we die. But look at the size of the universe. Why would the universe be so enormous? And all of your dreams will come true is not dreams of, afterlife, where we're in some kind of a simulated environment that simulates what we love, which is the real life, the physical life. But that is reality, is the physical life. And God knows how to make us happy because God is our intelligence Father. We are intelligence and God is our intelligence Father. So I have so many videos to make. I'm going to try to make 1 video a day. So I hope you're back. I hope you're intrigued. And I hope you're starting to feel a little bit happy too. And please keep your eyes on the skies. Do what I did. I was taking videos. I took these 2 pictures. Well, this is one of them, of what I named Space Ferrari boat. This is a jet. See, it has a jet trail. But from the picture you can see that's a boat. That looks like a boat. And it's got these blue lights and in the You can see there's blue lights in the back too, and in the front. Some kind of a means of propulsion. So that's my UFO. And this, I took this May 19th, 2021. So the anniversary is coming up. So that every year, May 19th, I get up at 5 a.m. and I watch the skies and hope to see Space Ferrari boat again. And this time, I would so take a video. I just wish I could have had a video. It was actually cruising really slow. It wasn't very high, even though it has a jet trail. It was only like I can't even, I would say maybe 8,000 feet, between 8 and 10,000 feet up. And obviously there's no windows, there's no reflection, there's no wings. There was no sound, very short jet trails. It's not I would say it's just a vapor. And it was cruising really, really slowly, which I guess planes can do, but for me it was still a little bit suspicious. But from a distance where I was, it looked like a little torpedo, which is, I should have been a little bit, ooh, torpedo coming my way, but you know how we are today, under reacting. And so I hope you get inspired and take out your great cameras. And if you want a UFO during the day, I'm not saying it's going to be in your face, but take videos of jets. That's what I did. And please go to my other channel, Askerith, where I posted a video called UFO Acrobats. And UFO Acrobats, so much is happening in that video. That video, it's about time that people start paying attention to it and inspecting it, because there's so many UFOs in that video, and one of them being seashell UFO. Seashell UFO is very, very special, and it's actually the reason why I even noticed that video, something special about it. It kind of was like in your face, and that is real. When you watch it and you see seashell UFO, that's real. And please, you tell me what you think. So I hope you're intrigued. I hope to see you soon, and peace.